welcome again to the Executive Room podcast, where we delve deep into the minds of remarkable executives who have shaped the business world with their ideas and actions. I'm your host, Kimberly Afonso, CEO and founder of the K Consulting Group, where we are experts in everything related to CEO visibility. And today, it's an honor to have Erik Braund join us. Erik is the founder of Katmai, a virtual office platform reimagining remote work by enabling spontaneous, presence-first communication in immersive digital environments, which is really cool. We'll see some clips of that later on. He launched in 2020 from frustration with lifeless video tools, leveraging his 20 plus years in media and tech to build a people-centric alternative. Before Katmai, Erik earned a BFA from NYU's Clive Davis Institute and ran Braund Studios in NYC and LA, producing for clients like the New York Times, Audible, and major music artists. So let's get started. Great to have you with us today, Erik. And I'd love to start with your really unique founder's journey. So how did the idea for Katmai come about? And also tell us a little bit about how you went from bootstrapping the company to Series A. Would love to hear all about how you got started and all of that.
Awesome. Well, Kimberly, thank you so much for having me, and what a great introduction. That was a jog down memory lane. It's wonderful. This Katmai thing here that we have now, which has become a company and a technology and a product, and it originated at the beginning of the pandemic, a crazy time where everyone was still trying to figure out what on earth was going on. How long is this going to happen? What is life? Everyone's at home. Everyone's a little scared, concerned, unsure, all the things. I was operating an audio video production company. All this stuff behind you see is from my old music studio. And, my job was to put together video productions on location with lots of people inside of small rooms, likely without ventilation, and, that sort of thing. Not very pandemic COVID friendly at the time. And so we pivoted to broadcast for a little while to figure out, okay, we still have to do things for companies, and there's still needs to connect. And there was a time when I remember telling large international companies, hey, have you ever heard of Zoom? Hey, have you ever heard of Microsoft Teams? And there was a time when people hadn't heard of those things. And, those were tools to get things done. And they, candidly shaped the way for remote work to even exist now. And so we're all grateful for video conferencing. I'm coming to you live from underneath the garage at my home, which is my office. It's pretty great. So during that time when I was trying to figure out, A, what am I going to do with my life to support my family? And B, what do my existing customers need? There was this kind of like push and pull in this tension of there's got to be a way to have a more lifelike dynamic interaction virtually. It's 2020. We got to be able to, we got all got high-speed internet and nice computers and phones, and we're still using this same notion of what you and I are doing right here. Two squares of faces, kind of just, that's what it is for a scheduled video call. Mm-hmm. And I remember scrolling around the internet, and a friend of mine sent me a link to this Dutch guy's Twitter account that was all in Dutch. And it was like a long story short, when I clicked it, it was the very early versions of what Katmai is today. Is this concept kind of like, hey, we're in a 3D environment, but we're grabbing your webcam and we're representing you that way on live video in a 3D environment. And so I reached out to the guy, a gentleman named Gerard, long story short, convinced him to quit what he was doing in the Netherlands, come do this thing with me. I bought it from him because I had a vision that said, I have a million ideas for what this can do. This is an excellent idea. Let's go take this and turn it into like technology and products and take it out to the world. Little did I know that was going to take me millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars and many years to like actually accomplish. But I'm kind of one of those guys that just is like, gets an idea and like, let's go. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. I knew enough software engineering from grad school to know that I never wanted to open a terminal again myself and type a line of code again myself. But it's always been interesting. I've always been a nerd. So it's 2020. I find a couple of people, all fully remote. I've got a guy in Florida, Pete. I've got Brian and Kirill who are in Brooklyn. I've got Gerard in the Netherlands, and a guy named Steve in New York. And next thing you know, we're like taking this and saying, okay, how do we turn this idea into like technology that actually works? Because what I didn't share is that first time I fired up the proof of concept, in about 3 minutes, my computer overheated. The fans turned on so loud it became 1,000 degrees and it stopped working. Like
Wow.
the proof of concept of an idea. So taking that idea, turning it into like battle tested technology took years. Like candidly, it really took years. So we were in stealth mode. We were, building intellectual property, making your computer do something new that it had never done before. And that was, a really exciting and kind of crazy time. It was very stressful in that it was being funded from my savings account. And when that was gone, it was being funded from my checking account. And at this point, I hadn't made any money in like months or years because my other business was pretty much out of business. And so we were very much all in on like, I just got to get to this tech to where it is can stand up on its own 2 feet, and will work on lots of devices, and turn it into a product that makes sense for people to use, that adds value, because we knew we couldn't just be cool shiny technology that was like a solution looking for a problem, right? We needed to like identify the pain points of remote work and hybrid work and like the new kind of era of all of those things, and say, where are the problems and how can we solve it? So for like early adopters, that was very obvious. It's like I would know in 3 seconds if someone like got it and could put it to work for them. Or if it was like, oh, it's still a little rough around the edges, yes, maybe, but like there's more work to do. So that's the kind of like bootstrapping portion. It was about 2 years of just building tech. I didn't know how to file a patent. We filed lots of patents. We have over 50 patents on the technology today. I didn't have any understanding for how expensive those would be ongoing. Every month we get new invoices related to patents that we've had for years. It's just like learning a lot of things, trial by fire here. I was the QA department for a long time. I have probably 40 computers at my house. I have a very strange long hallway closet that my wife is just like, this room is too weird, because it's just like a zillion laptops and iMacs of different varieties, and like high end, low end, like crappy computers to test and see like, okay, is this going to work? So anytime we got a user, I'd find out what kind of computer they had and I'd buy it, and we'd use Katmai on it to figure out what kind of experience they were having. And like, that was a lot of R&D time there. So,
And how did you take the leap? Because you already had a successful business, Eric. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about that, because that's not an easy thing to do when you're already successful, and go out there and do this, really bold, ahead of its time thing that is really out of the box and really out there.
and it might still be ahead of its time too. The jury's out. We'll see. But it's terrifying, honestly, because I wake up every day and still miss the kind of personal money that I used to make from my own business that I was a 100% owner of, right? And it was just me, and I had studios and loads of equipment. But on the flip side, we built something that's being adopted around the globe, and that is pretty cool. And with my old business, I never figured out how to scale beyond me. So it was like it was a service, but I was the product also, because I was the wacky, crazy director, artistic, technical guy that could get in a room and be a chameleon and talk to anyone. And like that, I didn't have another one of those people to do that. So I wound up living on an airplane between New York and Los Angeles, which doesn't scale also. And, I had our first kid, and I was gone a lot of those first couple of years, unfortunately. And then had another kid, and then the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, shoot, if we can still like work on something meaningful, build relationships, and I don't have to be gone 24/7, like, because I have not loaded in. I'll do a better job of articulating this. I used to have to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, get to Brooklyn, pack a van full of tons of equipment, get to somewhere in Midtown Manhattan, Times Square, go up to the 47th floor of some building, load in 10,000 pounds of equipment, have it inspected on the way in, inspected on the way out, do the job, get everyone there on time, have all the insurance. Like, there's so many moving parts just for like one thing that day. Mm-hmm. So I don't miss that. Now I basically walk around with a backpack and a laptop, and it's pretty great. Like, I really... Software, there's a benefit to working in software and not hardware. But again, I'm just one of those people that's like, you know what, it's going to work out. I'm going to make it work out. I don't know how. I don't have all the answers, but I don't get saddled by the like what could go wrongs. I always think about them. It's important to think about them, but I just was built to, honestly, my parents gave me this ability to just say, you know what, I can do it. And I've never not thought that. There are times where I probably should have. In my younger years, that was probably hubris. Today, it's just confidence, I think. But I have that, and I'm just like, well, I'm so excited about this still. And we've been doing this for 5 years now. Now, it's only been in the market since February of this year. But like now we're selling into huge companies and we're selling into super tiny companies and medium sized companies and adding value to people's day to day interaction. Like we have become the de facto communication platform for some companies. How cool is that? Like they just use us to communicate. And I love that. So,
And what advice would you have for other founders who are looking for, investors, and they're also doing something that, is maybe, out of the box, ahead of its time,
yeah.
as we said before?
Excuse me. Sorry. So advice for founders, it's so funny. It took me a little while to even grow into the like being comfortable saying, "Oh, I'm the founder and CEO of this company." I always thought it seemed like, okay, get over yourself, forget the titles, blah blah blah. Like, just tell them what you do. And then there are the like, well, there's the 5 days a week after hours and 2 days a week on the weekend that like you're doing all the things that like are required because you're the founder and a CEO. It's like not just the stuff that happens Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It's like everything else. And like I've yet to move into any of the like glory of like, aha, I'm the CEO, the founder. I'm gonna go play golf all day. Haven't quite got there yet. so so I hit the point of I'm out of money. I'm running out of money rapidly. Like it's starting to get a little bit dicey. It's starting to get a little scary. Um, and then met with the decision of like the only ripcord I had left was I could sell all of the equipment, the audio and video equipment that I built for the last literally 25 years. And that seemed like, well, no, I really like all that stuff. Like, I don't want to like just fire sale all this stuff to survive another month or two of payroll with this startup. And I had never raised money before. I just self-financed my last business. I grew slowly. I opened a big credit card, charged stuff, pay it off. Wasn't the most like fiscally responsible way to do stuff, but I just went. I just did. And so I realized, okay, we're going to have to put together a board of directors. I'm going to have a cap table. I'm going to not be able to be the 100% owner of this thing. Even if you're paying people great salaries, everyone wants a piece. And I had to, understand that and say, okay, yes, everyone needs to be incentivized to like participate in the possible upside someday. And like different people are going to be motivated by different things. So it was, how do I raise money? I don't know. I've never done that before. And it's kind of like, do I know any wealthy people? I don't know. I grew up in Alaska. There's not a ton of like, there's not like old money in Alaska. There's not a very active investment community there. But like, I leveraged the relationships I had, shared what I was doing, told them what I was going to be doing next, and asked for help because that's all you can do. And then I learned the hard way there was going to be some people that would just do it and help you because they wanted to. And there was going to be people that would hold you at gunpoint for way more equity than you'd ever dream of giving up, and terms that were totally egregious. And, there's the full gamut. And I knew nothing about this stuff, honestly. But I'm a quick study and I have, the advice is go with your gut. Like if your gut is telling you I'm not so sure, I would just make sure you listen to that. But on the flip side, if there's money there, take it. like not with horrible terms if you can avoid it. But I have now, since becoming an investor funded company in 2022, I have witnessed such insane things in the market. And the term the market was entirely irrelevant for Erik from the ages of 0 to 37 or something, right? And I'm 41 now. I didn't read the Wall Street Journal. I didn't pay attention to the Financial Times. None of that had any impact on me at all. And now I'm like, oh my God, I understand it. A war happens somewhere and investor sentiment changes, and an election happens and investor sentiment changes. And like, the election doesn't go the way someone else wanted it to, or it might not, or the primary didn't. And that makes people say, oh, I'm not sure what we're doing the next 6 months. And then I didn't really understand the difference between a VC, an institutional, and a high net worth individual. I like definitionally sure, but not in the room, I suppose. And so I had to get beat up in a bunch of meetings early on, like to understand, oh, I see. This type of investor is going to ask this type of questions and be focused on this, whereas this type of investor is focused on something entirely different. And so, we're always kind of raising money in one way or another, or meeting new people, or doing investment pitches or customer meetings. And I'm not perfect at all, but I have a much more seasoned understanding of, if I have three investor meetings back to back, I will answer 300 questions and I'll only answer the same question like four times. It's really interesting, the different types, the different people, and like you have to be so comfortable, and you have to know everything. You cannot rely on, I so and so made that spreadsheet, and we'll get it to them. And hold on, let me look at the spreadsheet, and then let me come up with that answer. It's like you need to know inside and out what your business is, isn't, and is going to be. And it's acceptable to have certain questions that say, not prepared to answer that at this time. I need a day to get back to collect all the information to give you the best answer. But overall, like, you really need to know like 99.9% of what you're doing. And for me, that changes really quickly because it's technology, it's a wide variety of customers. One customer catching on fire in a good way could entirely change our business. So it's like, go with your gut, take the money, and know everything there is to know about your business.
Love that. And now I would really like to hear your thoughts on remote work. What do you think about it in general? Where do you think we're going? I'm asking this question because I personally have a lot of clients who are not fans of remote work, some who have hybrid businesses. I personally have a fully remote team, so I have my own view on it. So, you're building a tool that's perfect for remote, virtual office, hybrid. What are your thoughts on all of that?
I'm a huge advocate of remote work. I better be, right? I think that the general conversation in the world around remote work is now an outdated one because it's been looked at through a set of tools and technology that are literally decades old now. Like the video call has not evolved. It truly has not evolved in the last 10 years, even since the pandemic with massive adoption. What's new in Google Meet? What's new in Teams and Zoom? Like there's some AI note taking, but I just read a statistic this morning that on Zoom, of all the conversations they have, only 10% actually converts to like, yeah, we'll pay for the AI. It's not a huge revenue driver. And so remote work as we know it is largely based on what I call meetings by appointment, which is three people need to meet next week. We're going to look at our calendars and align, find 30 minutes, and we're going to schedule that meeting Tuesday of next week. Maybe between now and then, we're going to remember, oh, we should have invited a fourth person. Definitely what's going to happen is, oh, shoot, I wish we had invited that fifth person to this meeting. Like in that conversation, that happens. And we're kind of used to that now, but by default, what we just described is exclusive, meaning it is excluding everyone that's not invited on that calendar invite. You're also working around this notion of just like endless meetings. Everything is in 30 or 60-minute blocks, or one company we meet with a lot is in 25 and 55-minute blocks, which I kind of like. But everything is in these like blocks of time. By the time you've had that meeting, you're likely talking about something that happened that needs to be shepherded forward, but it's not an immediate conversation. So there's not spontaneity. There's not like the, hey, I have an idea. Can I bug you for a second? Like that has gone away. So that is like the one end of the spectrum is meetings by appointment for remote work. And then, the in the office thing is like, hey, we're all together in the office. We're going to have some scheduled meetings, but largely if we have the rapport, I can pop in and ask you a question, or you can walk by it and it's like, oh, Kimberly, I gotta run something by her. And that is a value of being together. This like inspiration and spontaneity and, collective hive mind of just like, hey, we're all around people. And like, most people kind of need to be around other people, even if they're not in conversation all the time. And remote work as described through Teams and Zoom and just regular video conferencing is pretty isolating. It's like it's awkward to have a little personal chat at the beginning of a meeting that 7 people are logging onto and one person can't make their mic or their camera work. And then the meeting's over and then someone ends it really fast as you're saying goodbye. It's like there's no culture, there's no rapport that can be built that way. It's much harder. So I took a look at the white space in between this spectrum of, going to the office and all of the opportunity that cost that comes with that, which is transportation, spending money, spending time, missing out on all the things. And this like meeting by appointment thing, and that is where Katmai shines in my view. We're trying to say, hey, remote work can be done in a different way. Let's kind of like scrub what we know. There's not only 2 options. What if there's a third option? And what's so cool about it is now we are a platform that has different products on it, and our first product was a virtual office. And if you can kind of, for the listeners here, we'll hopefully show some video, but it's a 3D environment that looks like an office, and it loads up in your browser like a video game. You're in like a high quality video game, and instead of being a character, you're you. It grabs your video, it cuts you out, puts you in a little disc, and you can move around. And when you come to our office, I'll go in, and when I leave this meeting, I'm going to go in, and there'll be 20, 25 people there, and I'll go and have a couple conversations. I'll bump into someone. We're there. It's co-presence. And I think that often, managers can make the wrong choice and demand cameras are on for the like, I just need to know you're working. I need to know you're there. And to me, that already indicates like there might be a little bit of a culture problem with that style of remote work. And you'll hear managers say, I don't have any idea if anyone's doing anything. There's a red light, there's a green light, there's a yellow light. I don't know if they're there. Are they on the golf course? I don't know. Where is everyone? And so like with Katmai, visibility can stop being a one-way street and it can be a two-way street, because as a team member, you're there, you're available, you're showing your team that you're showing up, you're working, you're there, you're available. And from a manager standpoint, that opens up like a whole new world of collaboration and mentorship and learning. I cannot tell you how many times, even at our own company, who, by the way, we only work exclusively in our virtual office. We've never had a physical office. All like, hey, so-and-so, that we have someone just joined the team. This meeting is like not fully relevant for their job, but like it's their first week at Katmai. Let's go grab them. Let's have them sit in. Let's see what goes on around here. And whenever we've hired someone from a large company, the first thing they've done, this has happened like 10 times, is they've gone and scheduled 30-minute one-on-ones with like 10 or 15 people at the company to like get to know them. And for the like old timers at Katmai, it made us all feel like super weird. We're like, oh, what is this 30-minute meeting on my calendar? I hate this. Why are they doing this? It feels so blah. And because we're just so used to like, hey, it's an open door policy. I'm just coming in to say hi. How you doing? And I have some like pretty interesting statistics here. So what we're saying is, by being co-present for an agreed amount of time of day, whether it's 3 hours or 8 hours, doesn't matter. Every company does it different. We're saying by doing that, we open up your company and team's ability to have shorter meetings with less people and more spontaneous interactions. And then kind of what happens once you've all agreed to log in at the same time and be available is you're having these like 2 and 3 minute convos. So like Zoom's average meeting length is 54 minutes. Teams' average meeting length is 45 minutes. Katmai's is 14 minutes. So it's like based on our customers' meeting times.
Oh,
The average number of participants in Zoom and Teams, 7 people. In Katmai, it's 3. That doesn't mean that like less people are using it or people are less engaged. It means you don't have to have the same huge, long performative meeting, because we enable you to just move at the speed of actually doing the work, and because you're co-present with each other. And it starts to feel so incredibly natural. And this one is kind of crazy. So the average Katmai user spends 23 hours a week logged in. So, 4-ish hours a day logged in. By being logged in and just doing your other work, that means you're only in 2.3 hours of actual meetings a week. So by being there, you get to go down to 2.3 hours. The average Zoom user is in 17 hours of Zoom meetings a week. The average team user is in 12 hours of Teams meetings a week. So it goes from 12 to 17 hours of in meetings with 7 people to 2.5 hours of in meetings with 3 people. And like, if that doesn't tell you a story, like, I don't know what does, right?
Totally. And when people use Katmai, so if they're with a customer who's on Zoom or Teams, are they still in, do they stay in Katmai and close their door, or do they exit off of the platform completely?
You just close your door. It's that simple. It's like you would. We have modeled everything one for one, like being in the physical office. So it's like you and I could be in a conversation. I've come to visit your company. I'm a guest. I'm in your office. The door's open. We want to talk about something confidential or just not be disturbed. We close the door, and that gives a verbal cue to everyone else that works in your office of like, oh, Kimberly's in there with someone, not to be disturbed. I wasn't invited. You would do the same thing. Like if you're like, well, I'm in my office, but I've got to join another video call for someone's on, you might go close your physical door to say like, I'm here, but I'm actually here. So, and that's not to say we are building integrations that will connect us with other platforms to make it even more seamless. But right now, to jump on another call, it's super easy. It's like, oh, I just closed my door. I'm still in Katmai. It's still present. I can adjust my status to say like, oh, I'm in a meeting. Like it's just like, but it becomes so natural. And like people come and knock on the door sometimes, and I'll just like hold up like, oh, I'm on the phone, like, and then they'll walk away, and then I'll go talk to them again in 2 minutes. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Very, very cool. And I think when I saw your platform, Eric, as a remote business owner myself, I was like, wow, this is the exact way to recreate those water cooler conversations, or to not have to wait. It's Monday and you have calls. Sometimes I have one-on-ones with people on my team on Tuesdays, but that's an easy way to just say, hi, how was your weekend? Maybe something comes from that. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you all get to work, but really, really cool idea. What ways are you seeing that your customers are using it that you didn't expect? Has anything come up that like has surprised you?
yeah. There's a few I've hoped for that have happened, and then there's been new ones. The hoped and would happen is like a company started using it, and then they gave up their lease in New York City, and they
Oh,
just used Katmai.
wow.
And you're like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We've seen it used for customer service, like because we made it very seamless to invite people into the space also. So there's like links that you can share that it's just like inviting someone to your office, and they're in there and they're with people, and it's got your company's branding, and it feels like a space. We got one from a customer in Scandinavia, and we were actually at their physical office having a meeting about kind of the next phase of a rollout, and they were like, oh yeah, we've been using this to watch webinars together with the team, to go like consume content but be around a virtual roundtable and be able to chat also. And like I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And like so like little things like that. There's someone that you like, we're targeted towards teams. Like this is a B2B product. If you see it, you'll be like, oh my god, there's so many consumer applications this could have someday. And we actually have built some consumer things for Starbucks historically, and like, but our focus on the product is to enable teams to have a better way to communicate effectively, right? So yeah, there's someone that's using it, and they're broadcasting out of it 24/7. It's like an entertainment thing where they can come and have, we've seen fantasy football drafts happen in it. We've seen
That's
people are
so
like, hey, I'm
cool.
watching the F1 race. You know, come visit my Katmai. We're gonna watch it together. So like, I love those things, and we know there's like legs to those someday for like consumer things. But as a startup here's more advice to any other founder trying to figure it out. We have a technology that can do so many things, and it could be very easy to get distracted by trying lots of things. And I've had to keep us like super, super focused on our customer, our businesses. And we have a platform, and we understand, SMEs might be attracted to this product on that platform, and the large enterprise is going to be attracted to something entirely different. But we still want them as a customer too. Example, a company like yours would have immediate value from the virtual office. You would set the tone that says, hey, we're going to come into this on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. just leave your calendars free. Let's just see what happens. We're going to do our morning meetings and then we're going to stay. That's an easy way to adopt and see how it starts to add. For a company of 1,000 or 50,000 or 100,000, that's not so easy to make that same statement, right? But you talked about one-on-ones. So for one of our enterprise customers, they kickstarted the process to build a product we have called Office Hours. And it's actually just a feature inside of the virtual office. And what happens is you could be logged in, you could have 20 people on your team there. You say, I'm going to start my office hours. And it sends a notification to anyone that's logged in. It's like, hey, Kimberly's available. And, for me, I have an open door policy. Come in and talk to me anytime. Do not schedule time with me. Just come in and talk to me. But this takes it one step further that says like, no, really, I'm here right now. I want to talk to you. I want you to know I'm available. And you basically get in line. Like you take a number and you get in line and it's like you admit the next person and the next person and the next person. And you can kind of force it, which is helpful for some people in some orgs. Yeah, so we continue to find new ways that people are using it and get new feature requests that are like, really hadn't thought of that. Like, that's so interesting. Like, there's nothing like having customers, A, to break stuff, but B, to help you shape exactly where to go next because, we have too many ideas at this point. And so everything on our roadmap now is entirely customer driven.
Oh, that's super, super cool. And amazing examples. Would have never thought about that, but I'll test some of them with my team. And before we wrap up, Erik, this podcast is also always about executive public presence, and you yourself have been really visible on various podcasts and online. So I'd love to hear your take on it, especially as now, you're running Katmai 5 years in. What is your take on, how to build a presence? How has it served your company? And how do you decide on what you're going to post and where you're going to be visible?
I'm probably a little unique in a sense of I really actually fought for a while of like I said earlier, like I felt kind of like a phony being like, hi, I'm Erik Braund, the CEO and founder of Katmai. So I'm just like, get out of here with that stuff, right? And at the end of the day, if you ask like, what are you? I'm like, oh, I'm a musician. I like to play grunge music. I play in a band in Alaska. Like that's what I want to talk to you about. And that's all true. That's like where my heart is. But what have I put all of my heart and soul and mind and cash into has been Katmai and the team. Honestly, like the team at Katmai, like this is not about me. This is about all of us. Like there's been over 50 people that have touched Katmai in one way or another at this point. And I made a distinct choice in February that said, okay, the product's out. We're not in stealth mode. I got to get out there. I got to talk about this thing. And I think, all the fundraising helped me figure out how to get more comfortable in any situation, talking about it and being able to answer questions and dodge questions and redirect questions and all of those things. I've always been kind of turned off by what I would call like the CEO influencer. And I don't mean to say this to be crass or rude. It's just always been a thing where I'm like, yeah, get over yourself. Who cares? I don't know. Just like people, like there's a lot of posting for the sake of posting. And that's the thing that I just can't stand it. And so the only things that I will generally put out are like, hey, I think this thing that we've built would meaningfully help you. It's not a sales pitch. It's like, we're learning. I think there's something really meaningful here that would actually add value. I'm not looking for attention on me. I could care less about Erik's brand as a CEO or executive. It just isn't like the thing that excites me. It is just my vehicle to tell the world about what we've built and how it can help them and you. And like, so that's really like everything for me has to be like genuine and authentic. And I remember even like telling my board, hey, I'm going to go do a bunch of podcasts now and start talking about this thing. And I will literally talk to anyone about this because that is what should be a large part of my job. But I'm kind of crass. I say the F word a lot. I don't really like wearing suits very often. I just like, I have to be me and I have to like talk about the raw stuff, which is like, I had $2,000 left in my checking account when we got the first $15 million of investment. That was fucking crazy. Like that was a very stressful time. Like, and that was with, a dozen people on a full-time payroll coming out of my checking account. So like, we've been on some roller coaster rides and like, we've scaled for huge things super fast and things have gone generally well for us, but it is such a big idea that I'm still, you said it at the beginning, like if it's a big idea that is like still, God, what did you say? It's like, we're not too
Oh yeah,
early, but
like ahead of its time.
ahead of its
Maybe that's
time.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the like constant push and pull with creating a technology and then turning it into a product. It's like, it is ahead of its time. People are starting to adopt. Like if I had the product where it is today and a pandemic hit, I would be a trillionaire. Like, I mean, it's just like, it would have hit so hard then, but thank God, like we never looked at this and said, this is a pandemic play. It's not. It's like, hold on a second. Yes, we used a lot of off the shelf tools to keep the global economy running during a weird time. However, people have been given freedom. People are home. People have moved. People have taken control of their personal lives a little more. And like for me, like I get to be around my kids. I drive my kids to school every morning. I get to pick them up. I get to be around. I mean, I spend half my day trying to hide from them also, but like I get to be around them. And that's something that like wouldn't really want to give up right now. And this is just like an anecdote, but I love this one. The CEO of Zoom in like 2023, 2024 called everyone back to the office and said, you can't run a company on Zoom and you can't have culture on Zoom. And I'm like, I agree. I completely agree. Because it's like subscribing to like an old set of principles. It's meeting by appointment. Katmai builds culture. I don't have data yet on how to tell it, but here's one. 89% of meetings in Katmai are spontaneous and not scheduled. They're not on a calendar. Like 90% of your interactions just happen. You didn't have to put a 30-minute block on there. To me, that is a culture statistic. It's like a culture statistic that's like, oh my God, they're right there. I can just go talk to them. One of our customers has like, they have a rule that's like, we don't email. I really don't like us slacking. And he's like, we have a saying that when someone sees something going too far on Slack, he goes, oh, this is a Katmai conversation. Let's talk about this in the office tomorrow. It's like the after hours Slack. No, turn that off. This is, we just get in the room and talk about this. So, here, another way that, sorry, I'm just going back. It reminded me that same customer about a year ago was like, hey, you just helped us close a €1 million deal. And I was like, how'd we do that? He goes, we took a sales meeting. We said, you know what? We're shifting to Katmai. And at that point, they were only internal. They shifted it and they said, instead of doing it on Teams, we're going to have them into our headquarters. And this is still when Katmai was actually harder to use. This is like pre-launch. And he goes, it just like created an atmosphere that they liked us. They liked the way we worked. It was novel. It was unique. It was representative of us as a company. We got a €1 million deal we didn't think we were going to get. I was like,
I love
that's
that.
incredible. So saving money, making money, everything in between. We love it.
Incredible. Well, I love what you said about authenticity. Your authentic, genuine self definitely came out today, Erik. So thank you for sharing that with us. So many great takeaways for anyone running a business, starting a business, looking for tools. So thank you for sharing your story with us. And until next time.
Awesome. Kimberly, thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.